Bribery. This happens when someone offers or gives something valuable, like money or gifts, to a person in power to get them to do something dishonest or against the law. This can include asking for or receiving these items as well. The goal is to influence the person's actions, like making them treat someone better or ignoring a crime. Bribes are considered unethical and illegal and can come in many forms, such as money, gifts, or special privileges. Kickbacks can be seen as a type of bribe, specifically one that occurs after a deal is made. When bribery is common and accepted, it can lead to a system where corruption is widespread, making officials easy targets for blackmail or threats. A country where bribery is normal is called a kleptocracy, which means rule by thieves. Graft. It's a type of political corruption where a politician uses their power for personal gain. This happens when money meant for public projects is purposely diverted to benefit private interests. A politician might direct government funds to buy goods or services from a specific company at prices much higher than normal. That company then gives some of the extra money back to the politician to keep the scheme going. Sometimes officials might directly steal from government funds or use inside information to make decisions that benefit their own business interests. Embezzlement. This is a financial crime where someone in a trusted position, like an employee, secretly takes money or assets from their workplace over time. Unlike theft, where someone takes something that doesn't belong to them, embezzlement involves someone who has been trusted with the assets but deceitfully keeps them for themselves. This person may or may not own a part of these assets, but they misuse their position to take more than they should. Fraud. This occurs when someone intentionally lies or deceives others to gain something unfairly or illegally, or to take away someone else's legal rights. Fraud can break civil law, where the victim can sue for compensation, or criminal law, where the person committing fraud can be arrested and put in jail. This also includes election fraud, where the electoral process is manipulated to alter the outcome, such as tampering with votes or voter intimidation. Bid rigging is another type of fraud where companies collaborate to submit non-competitive bids for contracts. This can involve corrupt officials, companies working together, or both. The goal is to ensure that the chosen bidder wins the contract at a price that is not competitive, often seen in government construction contracts. Fraud isn't always about money. It can also involve getting things like a passport, driver's license, or a mortgage through dishonest means. Cronyism is when people in power give jobs or special benefits to their friends or trusted colleagues, even if those people aren't qualified. It can also involve exchanging favors like votes or special roles. This often happens in politics, where friends are appointed to important positions just because of their connections, not because they deserve it. Cronyism is all about favoritism. Extortion. This is the practice when someone uses threats to force another person to give them money or goods. It's often called a protection racket because the person making the threats might claim the money is for protection against possible dangers, even though those dangers may not be real. In some jurisdictions, just making the threat, like saying, "Pay me or something bad will happen," is enough to be guilty of extortion, even if they don't actually get any money or goods. An influential person might threaten to go to the media if they don't get quick medical care, or they might threaten a public official with exposing secrets unless they vote in a certain way. Another example is a police officer being told they lose their job if they keep investigating a powerful person. Money laundering. It's the illegal process of hiding money obtained from criminal activities like drug trafficking or embezzlement to make it look like it comes from a legitimate source. This often involves using a fake business or front organization to clean the money. Suppose a person sells illegal drugs and earns a lot of cash. To make this money look legal, they start a car wash business and use some of the cash from the drug sales to pay for the car wash business. But the illegal money gets reported as earnings from the car wash. This way, the money that came from the illegal activities gets mixed with legitimate business income. The money now appears to be clean. To hide the illegal money, the car wash owner might also create shell companies and offshore bank accounts to move the money and make it look like legitimate business transactions. Excess money. This refers to large rewards or favors given by businesses to powerful officials, not just to speed things up, but to gain special privileges or access to valuable opportunities. Unlike bribery or extortion, which are always illegal, excess money can include both legal and illegal actions. It might involve big bribes or kickbacks, but it can also include legal practices like building political connections, funding campaigns, or using revolving doors practices where people move between government and private sector jobs. Sometimes entire institutions are involved and no single person can be blamed for the corruption. Influence peddling. This occurs when someone uses their connections or influence in government to get special favors or treatment for others, often in exchange for money. While not always deemed illegal, it's usually linked to corruption and can damage trust in democratic politics. For example, in 2008, Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich was accused of influence peddling for trying to sell a US Senate seat. Simony. This is the act of buying or selling religious offices, positions, or privileges. This practice corrupts religious institutions by exchanging church roles or spiritual benefits for money or other favors. For example, if someone pays to become a bishop or secure a special religious role, this undermines the integrity and fairness of the church, turning sacred positions into commodities. Kleptocracy. This is a government where corrupt leaders use their power to steal wealth from the people and the country. They do this by misusing government funds or resources, benefiting themselves while harming the general population. In a kleptocracy, leaders often don't explain or apologize for their theft, and they rarely face legal consequences for their actions. Former Indonesian President Suharto and former Yugoslav President Slobodan Milosevic are two examples of kleptocrats. Price fixing. This happens when companies collude to set prices at a certain level rather than letting market forces determine them. This illegal practice prevents competition and often results in higher prices for consumers. Ghost employment occurs when individuals are listed as employees on a payroll but do not actually perform any work. The ghost employees might be friends, family, or associates of those in charge, and the money meant for their salaries is often siphoned off by corrupt officials. This practice can drain public or corporate resources and is typically used to embezzle funds or cover up financial mismanagement. Slush funds. A slush fund is a separate secret account or fund used for various expenses, often corrupt or illegal. It is typically hidden from view and distinct from legitimate funds. Officials, whether in government or corporations, may use slush funds to discreetly pay influential people for favors, such as special treatment or confidential information. While the funds themselves might not be secret, their origins and uses are often kept hidden. Using slush funds to sway government activities can undermine democratic processes. Elite capture is a type of corruption where powerful or wealthy individuals use public resources meant to help everyone for their own benefit. Instead of funding projects that improve the lives of the larger population, these elites redirect the money to projects that only benefit themselves. This happens because of unequal access to information, poor regulation, or bad resource management. Elites may use legal methods to take advantage of the system by giving contracts to companies they own or control, or to their friends, even if these companies charge much more than necessary. Abuse of discretion. This happens when someone with decision-making power abuses their authority. For example, a judge might wrongly dismiss a criminal case, or a customs official might let a banned substance pass through a port. This misuse of power often leads to unfair or harmful outcomes. State capture. This is a form of systemic corruption where private interests exert significant influence over a government's decision-making process. The term was first used to describe how small, corrupt groups in some Central Asian countries that transitioned from Soviet rule used their power to manipulate government decisions. This allowed them to strengthen their own economic positions. These influential individuals often became known as oligarchs. Patronage is the practice of giving government jobs, contracts, or other benefits to individuals as a reward for their political support. This practice often involves appointing supporters to positions of power or granting them special privileges in return for their loyalty or assistance in elections. Unlike cronyism, which favors friends or family members, patronage involves a broader network of political allies. Regulatory capture occurs when agencies meant to protect consumers end up serving the interests of the companies they are supposed to regulate. This happens when these agencies prioritize the needs of specific industries or groups over the public's interests. Subscribe for more videos and check out my coverage of every censorship type to dive deeper.